All right. Well, good morning. Here we are, Jill.
Good morning, Wapaka.
It is time for our Foundations for Living podcast. It is Tuesday, June 7th, last day of summer of school.
Yes.
For many, some schools have let out already, but hey, that's all right.
It is for Wapaka.
It is. So if you stop in the center, you're going to see perhaps some of our kids running around here, and we'll probably put them to work.
Absolutely. That's why they're here.
I know I told James already. I said, if you're coming to, you're going to be in Wapaka, you're going to be off of school, you're going to be put to work. And we have Robin joining us this morning. Robin says good morning. So good morning to you, Robin.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. And so I have Jill Amos Polifka here, and you're well known in our city.
Am I?
I think so. I think so. When people ask me who Jill is, I oftentimes will say she is all things a guru on government programs and just, where money is, how to help people and all of that.
Yes. And I hope we can tap into that money to help more people.
Yeah.
As we're learning the grant process.
That's a learning curve. I'll admit.
Yeah.
I've enrolled in a Udemy course for learning how to write grants, and we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
I think you and I have written quite a few.
Yeah.
And we've had favorable responses, so that's a good thing.
Yes. I can't wait to start being able to use some of that money that we've written for, because we have people in our community that need that hand up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about all things helping people in regards to housing, because Jill, I think, you're from California originally, Santa Monica.
Nope. Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, that's right, which is the coolest because I used to have Santa Cruz skateboards back in the 80s.
Yep.
And you even gave me a Santa Cruz sticker. So that's really cool. So you're familiar with big cities. I'm familiar with big cities because I come from Milwaukee.
Right.
And there, you just have to turn your head and you're going to see homelessness.
Yes. And same in Santa Cruz.
Yeah. And, down when I visit my friend in Nashville, at every corner, there's somebody holding a sign. And hopefully we'll have him as a guest on our show in the next week or two. But in Wapaka, there is homelessness. And the thing, Michael and I talked about this last week, the thing that we tend to see in a smaller city, and not just Wapaka, and maybe no fault of anybody's, but it's kind of like hush hush,
Right.
And but we're here to help them.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of programs that are available. And again, if you're watching, you're joining us online, comment, let us know who you are. Well, we'll know who you are because you're commenting, but let us know where you're from and just say hi. We'll put you up on the screen. And before we do that, though, we should talk about a special event we have coming up here.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I heard this place used to do these sort of events. And so we're bringing back, outward events, outreach.
Right. Yes.
And so I'm going to go ahead and put on the screen an event that we have coming up. It's called Foundationfest. Saturday, August 6th. Jill, can you talk to us about the school supplies and stuff?
Yes. So from today on, we will be collecting school supplies that we can hand out to the kids of Wapaka school districts and our county. Anybody that comes can come and get school supplies. But we are asking the public for your help in providing those school supplies that we'll be collecting here.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to work with some of the churches to collect some of the school supplies. So
yeah, that would be cool. Get
the word out.
If you're a part of a church, you're going to be seeing this graphic coming to the church email address. And so it's Saturday, August 6th from 11 till 4. The Refinery Church, which Michael Hall, our assistant director, is a part of, will be providing the music. We're going to have a stage set up in the back. The church I pastor, Radiant Fellowship, we're going to be providing all the meat for the cookout. It's all free. And so it's, what we're hoping to do is have live music, cookout, school supplies. We're going to give away school supplies to any family that needs. No questions asked. Just come, and we'll have people here to help you with those. And we're inviting churches, to be represented here.
Yeah. So churches, you can come and set up your tables and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
To provide into this community event where we all come together to support and give hand up to our community in times that they need a hand up.
Yeah. So mark your calendars for August 6th, and we'll be here now. And there was an email that already went out to churches regarding this, that we'd like their presence here. We dispelled one of the myths about Foundations for Living last week, and that is that we're a church. We're not a church.
Yeah.
We are not a church. So if you're watching, just remember, we're not a church. We are wanting to incorporate all the churches in the area, because I know I can speak to Foundations as a pastor of a church, that this place saves pastors and staff a lot of time from reinventing the wheels. So if you've been wanting to do an outreach, you've been wanting to do something like this, but it's just not in the budget, you don't have the manpower, let us do it. And all we ask of you is to be involved, have your presence here, bring church pamphlets, whatever you want to do, and feel free to talk to people and get to know them a little bit. So again, we're going to go into the rest of our show here, podcast. But if you have a comment or you have a question for Jill or myself, please feel free to comment right on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll put the question or comment up on the screen. They'll see a fancy little picture of you and all of that, but we'll address those right here on the show. So Jill, going back to homelessness in Waupaca, it's a problem.
It is a problem. It's an unseen problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you are from Waupaca, you're not going to see people walking around with their backpacks. Like in Santa Cruz, you know, who the homeless are, and here you don't see it like we do in the big cities, but they are there.
Yeah.
And we were able to serve 34 people this year.
That's awesome.
Just here in Waupaca.
Just between November 1st and April 30th, which is our warming shelter season.
Right. And I have had phone calls just 3 yesterday thinking our shelter was open.
Yeah.
So there's people that are looking for shelters, and shelters are full everywhere.
I tell you, I mean, Waupaca took the jump in gas yesterday to $4.89. And I think it's high. Yeah. And, our $25 gift gas vouchers, Val and I were just talking today, that's only good for 5 gallons of gas.
I know. Is that crazy?
And I don't think it's far, Waupaca, get ready, because two big city people, that we're going to start seeing people at the end of the highway ramp and everything holding signs saying help,
Right.
And again, we're here. This is why Foundations exists, is to help these folks. So the homelessness happens. We have a warming shelter November 1st through April 30th. You can volunteer to help and be a part of that, whoever's watching. But the fact is, we have to close down at some point. And so we have to, on April 30th, and so we have to deal with these people to get them in homes and all of that. And so what do we do? How do we do that? And before you answer that question, Michael Hall, who is one office door over, asked the question, what is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of the job is working with people and being able to build trust with them, to work through some of the trauma.
Yeah.
Because it all stems from pretty much childhood trauma of their consistency with homelessness, and why they haven't been given those independent living skills, put it that way.
Yeah, it's a rewarding job, and, like any nonprofit or any homeless warming shelter or whatever, you always get the warm squishies around Christmas and Thanksgiving, because that's when you can make the meal. That's when you can come and serve and feel good. But we're doing this 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yep.
And you're an intricate part of it. So if somebody comes into our place and they're homeless or in crisis mode, again, we talked last week, house burned down, lost a job, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you have in place that you can do? Because you're the case manager, you're the program director and case manager. So most of the people will talk to you.
Yep.
So
we sit down. They come in and then make an appointment, and we'll sit down and go over. They'll fill out the form, and it will kind of give me an overview of what they're here for, what they're needing. And so we'll sit down and talk about different resources that we have
Mm-hmm.
and kind of narrow it down to the most need, to
Yeah.
the least need, and we'll start at the top. And housing is always going to be number one. So if they're homeless, we want to get them on the housing list right away. We work with Salvation Army out of Point,
Okay.
which has HUD funding. And I think we are now up to 5 programs that we can offer.
Wow. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. And we do work with them. So I'm putting people on a list. And I think that's my most frustrating part of this is I don't know how fast that list is going to go.
So to clear up a misconception, somebody walks in, they need help with food, clothing, a house, and through Salvation Army, we can give them a voucher for X amount of dollars.
Yep.
We don't just hand them cash.
They never get handed cash. If we need to help with rent, we write a voucher, and that voucher goes directly to the landlord. So they're not being given cash. We have a food pantry. So obviously we give them the food pantry, our hygiene closet, which we call our blessing closet, because this is stuff that you cannot get with your food card.
And this is all the food pantry and the closet. That's all donations.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all you guys. That is our community coming together to build a community of help.
Mm-hmm.
And we count on you guys in big ways to fill those cupboards and those closets to be able to help people. And we give out bags every single day, except for Sundays.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe Saturday and Sundays, but it's not a day that we aren't giving out a bag of hygiene or food to help somebody that is in crisis at the time.
Yeah.
So that is our first, I would say the hygiene and food is our first, our most needed everyday thing that we can help with.
Yep.
People come in for gas cards so much, and there's so many times we can't help somebody because we don't have enough gas cards. Right now we had to narrow it down to you have a doctor's appointment or you just got a new job and you need to get back and forth to work until you get your first paycheck.
Yep.
And like I said, these $25 is not
going very far.
It's not going far, and it's really hard to say, okay, we've already helped you with this.
Yeah.
And so we need gas cards, guys.
Yeah.
Bring them in.
We had a sweet older couple come in after Christmas, and they just stopped at Quick Trip and picked up gas cards and dropped them off. That was a gift to the center, and that's kind of neat too, because that doesn't affect our Salvation Army funds. That's just a gift right from Foundations for Living.
Right.
And the cool thing about that gas station, and there are some other gas stations too, that you can purchase those. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. If somebody is making it and well-to-do and everything, they can get either very sympathetic or they can get a little cynical too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like if I give them a gas card, all they're going to do is spend it on cigarettes, Mm-hmm. I understand their hesitancy in that, but what's cool about Quick Trip and some of the other ones is you can buy gas specific gift cards.
Yeah. Gas only.
Yeah. And maybe not everybody knows that. And so, that's something that we would, as you were saying, it's donations like that.
Yeah. Yep. Those are huge. And I mean, I even have people that'll call and say, do you have any? Because they've been turned down before, but they're trying to get to a job or they're trying to make it. I mean, the prices on everything has gone up.
It has.
And it really is hard. Even housing is really hard to find. Working with the people that have come off our list, now the next step is finding housing, finding landlords that are going to accept this funding. Not that it's less funding, it's just guaranteed funding, but sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to get that first check. And yes, there is paperwork involved. Mm-hmm. With all government stuff, there's paperwork involved, but it's helping somebody get on their feet. It's helping somebody have stability. I mean, and stability is where we have to start because they can't start healing until they have stability.
Yeah. And just a reminder for our viewers, if you have a question you want to ask Jill or myself, feel free to comment right on Facebook or YouTube, and we will put your question or comment up on the screen. So you worked so at the end of the warming shelter season, April 30th, we get asked often, what do you do, to shush them out the door? That's not very Christ-like, but we're confined by city constraints, number one,
right?
Which is fine. I mean, the city has to have rules,
right?
But then we don't just shush them out the door. We really do. You work really hard at getting them housing.
Yes. So before we close, we try to have everybody housed before we close. This year, we were not able to get everybody housed. So there's a couple that ended up going up to Stevens Point, to the Salvation Army shelter in Stevens Point. But I still, a lot of them call me Ma.
They do. You just call Wilma Grandma.
Yep.
And I had one guy that called me Dad this year.
Yep. So I hear from them. I check on them. If I haven't heard from them in a couple of weeks, I reach out and check on them. But they always, they know that we're here and that we love them and that we are doing the best we can to find them the help that they need.
Yeah.
Housing is just such a crisis right now.
It is.
And it's not only, it's just finding housing. The prices did go up and they have adjusted. So we have to work on the fair market value of a rental value, but that's set by the state.
Yeah.
And so they did just up ours a little bit, but it's not quite to what the prices have jumped to. But landlords have been gracious and have come down to what is approved. And I'm so thankful for that. So I'm really hoping that we can partner up with some more landlords.
Yeah.
And when we house somebody in these programs, I'm still there working with them on independent living skills, their management skills. They go through a class called Rent Ready. So we're budgeting.
Which we just had a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're budgeting and we're teaching them how to budget and how to work out what you save for all your bills and putting that together. And I think that's the most important. I think a lot of people haven't been taught that.
Yeah, that is true.
It's just about coming around them and putting a team around them that is there and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to feel bad. I mean, they're all working. They're working class people.
Right.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, to be real, there are some heartbreakers where end of warming shelter season's done or during the off season, and we've done everything we can to help them, but they just either are just controlled by addictions or just are making poor choices, and we can only do so much for them.
Right.
I mean, they have to want it.
So I've learned this a long time ago. If they're not ready and they don't want it, there's not much we can do to help them. So when they're ready, they'll come back.
Yeah.
So, and in my heart, I have to keep that up front because there's times where I've worked harder than the client and I've learned through that. Nope, you got to stay back. They're not ready.
Yeah. And we always, we welcome people in and we help them with the physical and we also help them spiritually.
Yes.
I mean, we're not opposed to praying for people and we truly believe God can change people's lives. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes it's through a program and that's what we praise the Lord for, are the great programs that we have and that we host here. But we also know that somebody can have an Apostle Paul Damascus Road experience and, changed in an instant. And we've seen that before too.
Yes. I've been known to always have a couple extra guys with me going to church.
Yeah.
So
I know Radiance had people there and where you go to church, the Lakes, they have people there, First Assembly. And, we require 5 classes per week for people to stay in our warming shelter program. And one of the options is going to a neighboring church. So churches, that's why you need to get involved.
Yes. So Wednesday nights, there's a 19 North at Assembly that I've taken people to.
Yeah. Which is like college age.
Yeah. So 19 years and older.
Yep.
I'm like, wait, can I be in here at 55? But I was welcomed in. So I felt that was a really good fit. But if you guys have we're looking for programs that are going to welcome these people in
Yep.
that are, 19 North.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we don't do currently, we definitely have a big plan that God's placed in our heart is families,
Mhm.
and stuff. But again, all these churches have youth groups, kids programs and stuff. And, we've had a lot of moms and dads that have stayed in our warming shelter, either at the women at Radiant Fellowship or the guys here. And they still have kids. We can't house them due to the nature of who we house.
Yeah.
But if we can turn them on to a youth group or a kids program, stuff like that, that's a place that they could all meet up on a Sunday.
Yes. And I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
I really have seen these guys bringing their families in and bringing them to church and understanding more about what it's about.
Yeah.
Yep. And understanding that feeling, that hole in their heart they didn't know what it was about or
right.
understand it.
Yeah.
They're feeling something.
Yep, that's true. And just backtracking a little bit. So we give out hygiene supplies, we give out food, we do vouchers, we do gas. But one of the other big points you do is groceries, but is the thrift store vouchers. That's probably written out. I'm not exaggerating when I say potentially every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thrift store vouchers. So our thrift store started as a clothes closet.
In 2014, I learned yesterday.
Okay. In 2014. And I think, in 15 is when I got involved.
Okay.
With the thrift store. So I started out in thrift store, volunteering and sorting and doing all.
And there's a lot of sorting.
Everything to do with that. And, we were getting people that were donating. The donations were coming in, but we weren't getting the shoppers because people thought it was just to go out to other people. But the whole thrift store has evolved since COVID. I would say that it really made its turn around, but that supports our programs.
It does.
The thrift store is there, and anybody that comes in our doors and needs something, we will give them a thrift store voucher, and they are welcome to go back and get what they need.
Yeah, that's a common question people ask is when they donate, is it going to be given out? That is the priority.
Yeah.
We had people whose houses burned down in the last couple months and stuff, and we do give out vouchers for that. And so that way people giving can rest assured it's going to go first and foremost to people in need. But it's kind of a millennial thing now to go thrifting,
Yep.
And hit a Saturday and just go thrifting. And we got a cool store.
Yeah, we do have a cool store with cool prices.
Jane does a good job with that and her team.
Yes, she does. Oh my gosh, it's turned around so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's done such a wonderful job back there.
And we take credit cards, cash, whatever.
We're the thing now. We're in there.
Yep. So that's been really good. We could talk about too really quick in our last few moments. Michael, our assistant director, had a great idea, and we're all on board with it. The board likes the idea too. Is so we can't do warming shelter right now, but we're looking at opening up showers.
Yes,
because we have a shower facility here.
Right. So we're looking at opening the showers on Tuesdays and Thursdays, between the times that we're open up front here. So between 9 and 4. People can come in to take a shower because we do have some of our guys that they work full time, but they don't have a place to really go and take a shower and clean up.
Yeah. Yep. And so just by simply, and that's the case for churches and places like this, you don't have to put a lot of time and thought or resources into something that you already have.
Right.
Just open it up and be available. And, you and I've seen a couple guys that we've served that are still homeless, walking around town. I think that's going to be an invaluable resource for them.
Yes, I do too.
Because they're working a job.
Yeah.
And it's hot out now. Well, it will be, hopefully.
Yeah.
And,
but it was.
And a shower. Yeah. Summer was very nice last week.
Yeah, it was.
And, but, you're going to need a shower,
Right.
So.
Exactly. And I think that we are going to outreach that
Yeah.
like this week.
Yep. Yeah, we'll come up with the artwork, visit our website, Facebook page. Robin says that store has come a long way, baby. Thanks,
Yes.
Jane.
It sure has.
It has. Well, Jill, thanks for joining us. Do you have anything else you want to add? Or
I just wanted to, I don't know if I have time, but
Sure,
I
you
just
got
wanted
time.
to, on my heart, I've been working with the Youth Advisory Board for housing. And I have been reading through some grants that have been written by different consortiums and parts of our state. And the one thing that keeps coming out in my heart, the one thing that keeps like revisiting is the host families.
Yeah.
So they have a host family program that we will have to develop like training and stuff. And it's not foster care, but it's helping kids that are coming out of foster care or youth that are homeless.
So when you say coming out of foster care, you're talking 18 and older.
18 to 24.
Okay.
So the program is for 18 to 24. And I just love this idea of having host families, kind of like having an exchange student coming into your house. And not that you're there to parent them, you're there to rent them a room and be a support system, a mentor.
And facilitate their growth into adulthood.
Yeah. So they would have a team around them with this program. But I am really hoping to move forward with that by next year. Hopefully we can write a grant to open that program.
I'm going to put some up on the screen if people that are going to watch us on the replay or whatever want to get a hold of you. Here's Jill's email address.
Okay.
And I'm sure they can question you, ask questions. They can call our office number as well.
Or if you want to be on the planning committee,
yeah,
I think we're going to need a committee to put this together so we can make it successful. Yep. So email Jill at fflwapaka.org, or call. Here's the number on the screen so that people can ask you about it. And this is a fantastic program for people that have kids or empty nesters. Right. It's a huge need because empty nesters usually have that one bedroom that's vacant or six. Yeah, depend if you're living on a chain. So. All right. Well, thanks, Jill, for joining us this morning. Yes. Thank you for having me. And thanks for watching this week's Firm Foundation podcast. This is available for replay on Facebook. It'll be on our YouTube channel. If you just want the audio version, go to fflwapaka.org and you can listen to it there. And it'll, in a couple more episodes, it'll start showing up in all the places where you can listen to podcasts as well, including the Apple Store. All right. Well, you take care. Have a great day. Have a great day, Wapaka.